Hi. Mhm. I hope I'm audible. So let's begin. So first of all, you open VS Code. Okay, now this is the project that we are supposed to be dealing with. But in case you have not opened it, maybe you can try to drag the public file into your VS Code. You should learn if the document does not already exist. So you open it by dragging the project. So you can have the project and drag it, then you drop it. So you drop it. If it's not already existing, then it will be opened. But since we are already in the project, so what we do is simple. So these are the CSS files, these are the JavaScript files. So we start with the page not found. So these are the 4 pages. So in case there is an error, this is the fallback. The admin file, this is the dashboard. So we have this CSS, and we have the body which has the different sections. This is the navigation buttons and different sections. I will explain each and every section as we go. So that's and now these are the scripts. Yeah, the type module, it means you're using the import keywords. So it is important to add it. The other one is the index. So as you can see, it has the login logic where you are signing up and logging in the title. Yeah. So these are the scripts for the Firebase SDK to communicate with your. They are they are used to communicate with the Firebase database. And now this is the configuration file that we are calling for the credentials. This is the Firebase configuration file. You have the credentials that you're used to logging in. This is how you initialize it. The export keywords and the import keywords, they are used to, the export is to share these functions or these functions like this one, and the auth and the DB. And just like I said, the auth is the person who is supposed to be logging in. It consists of the details of the person who is logging in. The DB consists the database, and the Firebase consists the logic, the the app, the application integration with the database. That means that the application is authenticated to access the database. That's where the Firebase keyword is coming in. We have the check and redirect. So if you're not authenticated, you can see the status, and if you're a user, if you're an admin, you can access the following pages. It means you can access any of these pages. These are the around pages. This simple array consisting of the pages that are around. You can add more if there are more pages. However, if the admin is around, they are supposed to be redirected to the admin page. So that means anytime the admin is logging in, they will see the admin dashboard if they have the role. So what we are doing here, we are going to the Firebase and the Firestore. So the Firestore is where our collections are. A collection is simply a storage of data. So like maybe if we can be in a position to access it, yeah, here, okay, maybe the project, okay, so these are the Firebase database. So when you're talking about a collection, a collection is simply somewhere you store data about something. So this is the document ID, and these are the details. Like for our users, we are accessing this function or this person. So if this person is the person who has logged in, what we are trying to do is that we are accessing their details from here. So we are going through to the collection, which is called users. We are going to a specific UID which we are requesting it, and if we have this UID which is given when a person is logging in, then we can access the data in the Firebase. So that is what we are doing. We are going to the Firestore database, we are going to the collection called users, and inside the user there is the user document ID, the UID that a person logged in with is what we are going to use in order to get that document, or the document that you are seeing here, which consists of all these fields: the email, the employee details. So if they have already logged in, we can see this role. So if the role is the admin, then they are directed to the admin database. If the role is something different, then they are redirected to something different, or the user's dashboard, and that is what is happening. So once we have the document will consist the user data, and this is where we have the name of the user and the other details that we have already queried. They are within this document. Now we check in the details of that user is the role of that user. What is the role of that user? If it is user, then okay. So what we are trying to see here, we are taking the user data. Now if the user dot role is, if there is user dot role, that means we are checking is there a user, and what is the role of it. If there is a role, then we take that role and assign it to the role. However, if there is no role assigned, then we by default we assign them the role of the user. So we check the role. If the person is an admin, then they are redirected to the admin dashboard. If they are users, then they are redirected to users dashboard. Else, they are supposed to go back to the login page because they are not authenticated, or they were not found. So the logout function we call firebase.auth. This is where the person who the auth is storing the person who is who has logged in their device. And the sign out, it means we are logging that person out. This is the Firebase way of doing it. So then the user is logged out successfully, and then we are redirected to the HTML page. Yeah, and those are the errors and everything. So that is the admin page. Yeah, and that is these are the details that are supposed to be there. The index page, this is where we have the login, and then we have the reports. The report is where the technical admin, or like I was saying, the technician, or the person who is in charge of the IT, the database that is controlling, or the dashboard that is controlling the MAC address and other things, they are in the report.html. Then we have the timer. The timer is used to say the active and inactive users who are available. Then we have the user. This is where the normal employee will see their details, maybe submit a task, check a task, the available reports, and the logout button for in case they feel they need to log out. They are the same things here. So this script tag is used to auto-populate the fields, as we say. So we can start by the login page. So what is the login page looking like? So the first thing we are supposed to understand is we are importing the CSS from the CSS folder. Then we have this div. The div is simply a division whereby we have the structure. So in case we run the index.html, exactly. So we have the dashboard for logging. So you can first of all log out. Yeah. So we have this is the index, and you can see this. It is index.html. And note the way we are running it. We are running it using an extension called open with Live Server. So you have to install, go to the extensions here. You can see extensions, and then check Live Server. Yeah, for me I have already installed it. That's why you can disable it or uninstall it, but it's easier to use when you are running static files like index, HTML, and JS. They can help you a lot when you're running such kind of an application. So we go back to the index page. So we go to the index page, and here what we have is a form. Uh, you see this division, and it is being run by index.js, and this is what we are trying to, or the functionality of the HTML is being controlled by the index.js. So you can go to the index.js and see what is inside. Exactly. So the first thing we are doing, we are importing the configuration. The configuration is supposed to help us in order to make sure that the people who are logged in correctly, and they are well authenticated, and they can also be in a position to access data because we have their details and we know that they are authenticated. This is the logout function. So when you click the log out button, which you see here, and let me show you in the index file, the logout button, just like we had pressed, or where is it? Where is that function? Yeah, if you press the logout button, then the logout button is going to log out that person. So the logout button can be in different areas. You can have the admin. The admin can want to log out. So we have the logout button like so. So what we are trying to do, we are accessing this button using ID. So you can see this. An ID is a unique identifier for each and every element. So if an element has an ID, that ID can only be for that specific element and nothing else. Like for us now, we have an ID for the button, and that ID is what we are going to use in order to access the logout function in the index dot where is that index.js. And whenever you press that logout button, as you can see, we are getting document.getElement by ID. We are getting that ID, and from that ID we can detect the logout and call the logout function, which is stored in the Firebase config. Again, like you can see it here. So this is a function to log out that person. That means they are going to sign you out. So you are going to be like your authentication has been removed, and now you are no longer logged in. You have to log in again in order to access the same services. So here you are able to access you are able to move out of a page as expected. So this is what we are calling, and it is the function that we are exporting it. That's what the word export is supposed to be meaning. It means we are exporting it from the 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 Firebase configuration file, and we are exporting it to other files like the index.js here, and then now we are importing it in this file. It means like we have taken that function from that area and we have put it in this file. So in case you want to access the logout, now we are just going to call it like this. So instead of writing the whole logout function again in this file, we're just calling it, importing it, and that's what this import logout is supposed to be doing. We are importing that logout function, and then we are using it right here whenever a person wants to click the button to log out. The same case, you check state. So call to check login status and redirect on page load. So whenever we load our pages, then we call this function again in order to make sure that this person is authenticated, and if they are not authenticated, then we redirect them to login page where they can be logged in. So we can check if the login is true, and if it is true, then we can continue to access the other services. Yeah. So the first thing in this index.js, we are what we are trying to do, we are trying to make the index.html functional. So by the time I finish to explain this, I am sure you will understand a lot of content, and even when we are dealing with the other files, it is going to be easier. So the first thing we are doing is that we are importing the different elements by their IDs. So all these are importations. That means we can access that specific section of the whole page and manipulate it or adjust it in order to fit our own interest. So for instance, our auth button, whenever you click, this is what we call adding an event result. So what we are trying to say is whenever you click this button, which is auth button, then what we are going to do, we are going to create to call this function, which is auth action, and this is the function that we are talking about. Yeah. So you can see this function here. So this function over here is what we are calling whenever you click that auth button, and the authentication button is stored in the index.html. So you can check where that button is, the auth container. Yeah, here you go, the login auth button. So this is the button we are talking about. It is the button at the bottom of the, let's open that page. You see this login button. It is what we are trying to access. So whenever a person clicks on that button, login, so what is supposed to happen? We call this index.js. So whenever a person clicks on that button, we are supposed to call auth action, or the authentication action, or what's supposed to be. We are supposed now to authenticate what you have entered. So the first thing we are doing, we are accessing the email and the password. We are also accessing the name and the employee number. If the person is registering, we access all the four. If a person is signing in, that means they have already registered, they are just logging in. We are just going to access the email and their password. So the message is to alert. So if the message.innerText is supposed to be none, and the style to display that message is none until further notice. So the message that is being displayed, that means it is the message that is going to be telling you, are you authenticated or are you not authenticated? For instance, if we go to this page, and where is that page? Don't know if it is here. So for instance, you try to log in like so. You see, this is the message that we are talking about. At first, it should not display anything, and that's why we are talking about in the index.js. The message is supposed to display nothing at the beginning because we still have not authenticated. However, if we find errors like there is no email, there is no password, or there is no name or the employee number, and then we are supposed to give the error or to show the message. Yeah, and now the message that we are going to return is going to be stored in the inner text of this message. So we are going to call the show message. The show message is a function like this one. So we are taking the message, that is the message, and the color. So we are showing that message. We take the message and the inner text of that message, and the background color is going to be set out to the color that we are going to set. It can be a good message and the color is green, and then we are allowed to proceed. If the message is not right, then you're supposed to show a red and still persist asking for the for the login details as passive. So I hope the progress is far. So this message, we are supposed to get it like you can see here. It's an element in the HTML, the index.html here, and you can see here. So what is happening is this. You see right now it is empty and it has nothing, and the display is none. It means there is no message when you load the page first. However, the JavaScript will populate that message deletion or the content inside that message. Like if we write here message like that, then we save, we can see. Maybe we can try to reload. Okay. Oh, there is, and maybe we can say display something visible. Maybe it's visible, something like that. maybe we can just remove this. Oh, here the message is. Oh, it was just the color. It is just too dull. But you can see this is where the message is supposed to be displayed. However, it has nothing in before. So yeah, like so. It has nothing at first. So the division is already there, but it has nothing and it is displayed, and it means it has it is not allowed to display anything. However, when we finish, uh, you can see in the index.html exactly here, this is the message. So we have already gotten that element. It has nothing inside and it is displaying nothing in the CSS. It is hidden. So what we are trying to do is very simple. So whenever you want to to display something, whether it is a success or not, we are calling this so message function, and this is the message function. And now we are taking that element or that part of the div is a section of the whole HTML page. We are targeting that specific element, and that's why we are calling it that div with the ID, call element or get element by ID. We are calling that specific message thing, and then inside that message, what we are doing is the inner text. We place the message. Like when we are calling it, you can see a show message. If there is no email or password, please fill both fields. Now this is the error that you're supposed to see if you have not filled both fields or they are empty. Or one of them is empty and the color is red. So you're going to, if you don't pass anything here like that, it's empty, then you try to log in, it will say please fill both fields. Why is it displaying this error? It is because the reason why it's displaying that error is because there is no email, and in the same case if there is no password, it will show this error and it will show the color is red. So the background color of that thing is going to be red, showing that it is an error. So but for instance, if the person goes on and enters the correct details, now we see if the person is logging in, we are just interested with the email and password if that person is logging in. However, when we are talking about logging in, we say signing in with email and password. So this is the function, and like I told you, these are already pre-written functions. Like the way you can see this is so message. We are supposed to pass two arguments. That means that's why we have a comma. The first thing is the message that we want to display, and the other thing is the color. In the same case, we can see those details here below. When we are talking about message, we are passing the message and the color. So the same case, the Firebase has its own functions that are already written, and this one is one of the functions, and it is used to log in a person. So it is taking your email and your password, and by using them, it is able to tell you you have logged in successfully, and if it was a success, the message that is going to be shown is login successfully, and the color is green. So, and then because you have been logged in, your status changes. So when you check out status, it means we are going back to the Firebase config, to this file, and checking who is this person who has logged in. If they have logged in, who is this user? Eh? Is their role admin or is just a normal user? Then redirect them correctly whenever you log in. And then you can see firebase.auth. Now this is another function in Firebase. It is going to take in your email, your password, and then using those credentials, it's going to create an account. This is where we are creating your account, as you can see from here, like so. We are creating your account here. So when a person is creating an account, you use this section. When a person has an account already and they have what they are doing is logging in, they are going to just use this. So sign in with email and password. It means you are just logging in. You have an account already. However, to create a user with email and password, it means you are passing the email and the password and creating a new user. Mhm. And after now creating a new user in Firebase, then using the user credentials, we are able to get the user's personal UID. All this is a credential that is given to, or a unique identifier that is given to every user in Firebase. So for instance, let me show you in Firestore. So these are the users you can see. So this ID you can see here. You can see this ID, document ID in the users. You can see this ID here. Every person is given a unique identifier, a very big number, which they are supposed to access the services with as a service. So now we are checking which is that person's UID. And now we are creating another person. Now we are going to the correct, or what we are doing now, because we have already created a user, now we want to store their data in the Firebase Firestore. So what are we trying to do? We are supposed to get the persons and get the users correction. After getting the users correction, we get the UID or the document UID, which is the same as the user identifier. And now inside that, you store this data: the name of the user, the employee number, the email, and the role. By default, it is going to give you a role of user. However, in case in the future the admin needs to upgrade a user, they're just going to change this role to admin. With the relevant credentials, they can be in a position to do that. So then you can see the message has been successful. The account has been created successfully, and the green color shows. That means the process of creating the user was success. And now whenever we create a new user, they are automatically logged in. So we call the Firebase the check redirect state, just like I have said. So we are going to go here and then check redirect. We check the user who has logged in, is they admin or are they normal users, and redirect them accordingly. Exactly. So these are the access pages. So that is the what is that index thing? So that is where we are creating uh, that is how we are creating a successful login and logout. Okay, and now we go to the toggle mode. So we can check is the person logged in, or if they are logged in, then so what we are trying to do here, this is the toggle function. So the toggle function is what we are doing here. when we go to this page, like you can see here, let's go to the is that page. We don't have it. Okay, then let's learn it. You can run index.html. You will see it right here. Yeah, now this is sign up. You see, uh, it has already signed us up, so you can log out. But you see the toggle function. There is when you are in sign up, you can go to login by just clicking this sign up twin here. So like that is how the toggling is working. So what exactly is it doing? Can go to index.js. So it's checking, are you in the login page or are you not in the login page? If you are in the login page, that means it's logging. That means the name will change from login to sign up. Are you together? Yeah. If is the person is logging in, then the name that is going to be in that page is going to be login. If it is not login, that means it's the other case. The heading name is going to change from login to sign up. What I mean is this: when you sign up, it is going to show the name sign up. That means it is the sign up page. Then you toggle again, it is a login page. So the name that is being displayed here in that heading, let me show you where the heading is in the index.html. This is where the heading is. The heading like this. So we are taking this form title and then we are converting it accordingly here in the index.js. So if you are logged in, so if it is login, then we return. If it is not login, we return sign up, and that heading is different. The inner text or the text, if it is login, we are supposed to return do not have an account, you sign up. That means you are in the login page. And if you are in the login page, if you're not in the login page, then you return that you already have an account and you just want to log in. That means you are in sign up. So we have the name field. The name field, as you can see here, the name field, if it is in the login, it is not displayed, and the other way around exactly. Yeah, let's sign up. These two fields are present. That means display. You can display them when it is signing up. However, when it is logging in, the two fields are hidden, and that is the simple functionality of the index.html page. So the same case, this is the show message. So we are taking the inner text. The inner text is what is inside that text. So for example, if you are to say this message, you can try to concatenate it or just add something, maybe like uh, this is the message. Exactly like that. And maybe there is an error. We have not a person like this one. Yeah, you can see this is the message. So the message that is being displayed here is what is being stored here in the message. So the inner text is what you're going to see in between that element. Yeah, like the element itself is right here, there in this message here. Yeah, this is the message. So what we do, we can now see, try to see it. Yeah. So we are overwriting that inner text with this text that is in the message. That's why you still cannot see it even after trying to write it here. But instead of writing it here, it is being auto-populated from here. So it is nothing but whenever we call the show message in the index, it is taking the inner text or what is inside and replacing it with a message. We take the background color of the section and we replace it with a color. We take the message and it is block. That means the display was none previously and now we display block. It means that section is now block. Now it is not none. Exactly. And then after loading the whole JavaScript, we check the authentication. We have to keep on checking the authentication of this person to ensure that they are actually the people they say they are, and ensure that they are redirected as many times as possible to the to the to the necessary page or the page that they are supposed to. We don't want users accessing the the dashboard of the admin. We can now proceed to the dashboard of the admin, and maybe I can explain the way things are working around here. This is the ranking, exactly the timer. I don't know if I'm currently maybe or the server is not running. So not unless I run the script again, you cannot be in a position to see that data. So but let's first of all deal with the HTML. Now we are dealing with three files here for the CSS, the ranking. So the ranking is what is the CSS that is being used to go back, the ranking page, or the CSS that is, you can see here, the styling that is in this page. You can see this styling is coming from the the purple color, and all this is coming through by the CSS of the ranking. Here you go. That's why you can see this color. You see that color? Yeah, that color is coming from the ranking, and you can change this color to different things as you wish. And so these stylings or the styles that are here, they are what are it is what is making the page to look the way it is looking here. So we go back and see where is the other one in the admin, the report. So the report CSS, you can see the report is here, the coloring of the report. So these are the styles that are used in the coloring for the reports. So the reports are, maybe you can see the reports here. So the CSS that is controlling what you can see here, the way it looks and the way it's being displayed is the CSS is the report CSS is responsible for that. So maybe you can use this one for today, and you can see the graphing and all, the display none and the display visible. So all these styles are inside the report.js. Yes, so and then the CSS, and then the admin CSS. Now this is where the dashboard is being the colors. You can see the buttons, like the buttons colors. For instance, if you were to change this color to, which color is that? There are some colors that are very interesting. maybe like something like that, and you can save that. You see the effect, you can see the button, you can see these buttons, they have changed the colors. Yeah, it's that interesting. So you can easily change each button and maybe the way they are looking, eh, based on what you are interested in. However, I prefer the default. Huh? What happened? Okay, nice. So you can see that was what was previously there. Good. And then maybe you can see the monthly reports and all and everything around. Cute. So that is the CSS, the styling for the admin. And now these are the navigation. The navigation area is what you can see on top. So these are the buttons that you can see at the top here. These are the these buttons here. These four buttons are the buttons you can see here. And whenever a button is clicked, just like I showed you in the index.html, it is expected to perform a specific task. Now we can take maybe for the task manager, you can see there. Let me show you the JS file. So we have the road Firebase. This is responsible for loading the configuration file and the index.js to ensure that the person is authenticated. The menu is the what is controlling the toggling. Then we have the task manager. It is responsible for managing tasks in the task division. So whenever you let me show you, the task manager is used to control this area, task manage assignment. So what is the changing of everything is being controlled by the task manager. Report manager is responsible for the reports, as you can see, the daily report or reports, weekly reports, monthly report. All this functionality you can see, like if you click here, it changes to weeks. If you click here, it changes to daily report from Monday to Saturday, and all daily reports can be found here. So you see from this day to this day, the score and all. Those are the all day reports from January all the way through until today. And then we have the daily reports, and you can see this is the JavaScript responsible for that reports. The ranks is the JS responsible for ranking. You can see here the daily ranking, the weekly ranking, the monthly ranking, and all. Yeah, exactly like so. Mhm. Then we have the monitor. It is responsible for the monitoring, monitor.js, and the timer, and all the active and inactive. And we have the charts. Now the chart is responsible for the charts that you are looking at in the reports. So like the graphs, now we import this chart to ensure that everything is running as expected. I don't know if you can go through, maybe you can go through task manager and see what it is all about. So we can go to task manager. Here we go. Now this task manager file is supposed to be controlling the or managing the task at this dashboard. So like this task assignment, it is responsible for this part of the or section here. Let's try reading it again. Specific assignment or bulky assignment. So what the JS or the JavaScript that is uh, I don't know, there's a little error here. Back. Good. So in short, what we are trying to do is very simple. We are trying to see the specific tasks. Yes, here now we can see. Good. Now what we are trying to access now, in order to control that task section, we can add task, distribute items, or now to distribute to the people who are supposed to be there. Task input container. Now it's what we are targeting in order to add a button. Employee selector. So we are able to select the person, and then we can toggle the toggle button, which is responsible for toggling between the 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 bulk and the specific assignment. Now the employees, where are we looking? So what we are doing, we are going to the database in the collection of users, and we are able to get a snapshot. A snapshot is a copy of what is in the database, and then for each user, or that snapshot will contain each user or all the users. Now we are going to check for the user, and from from each document, we are going to get the ID of that user, the name of that user, and the employee, and store them on the employees array. That means this array will be consisting of different employees. Each and every employee is per need. So maybe for instance, after pushing all the employee, you can see this one. You can opt, maybe you can try to console log. I don't think there is any need for that. So, but this will simply consist is what the array that is going to be containing that. Now, after getting the array, we are going to, after getting the array and storing in the employees array, then we are going to populate the selector. That means using the employees array that, or the employees that are here, we are going to populate the selector. Let me show you what I mean. Exactly. So we can go to assignment. You can go to assignment, and you can see the employees. So these are different employees. And now from the what is happening right there, we are taking the all the employees in the database, taking their document UID, taking their name and the employee number. So after storing them there, then we are going to the option.value. We are going to the option. So an option is, let's go to the admin, and let's see the section for the, now this is the task assignment section, and you can see the options. So the option, like this one, is a selector of the priority. So you see the option is how many options do we have. So it's like we are creating options inside. Now we can go to, where is that selector for the employees? Yeah, we can go to the specific task, and you can be able to see this. The employees list will be populated dynamically here in the employee selector. That means in this selector there are no options, but based on the array that we are going to get from the database. Yeah, the array that we are going to get from the database, we are going to populate yeah, in the task manager. We are going to populate with the employee or the text content that is going to be in those options. So the option is going to have a value of the ID, the UID, which is going to be used to query or in order to get who exactly are we talking about, and then the name of that person, and then the employee. Now we have to append. Now we are going to get the employee selector like this one. Where is this? Mhm. We can go to admin. You see, now this is the selector, and now the options are going to be inserted right here. Like for instance, if you are to take something like this in Control X, in Control B, and save, and then we put it right here, right here. You're going to see. So what is the function is doing is it is taking the option, it's creating something like this, an option, and then it is inserting it right here. And the value of that is the ID or the ID, the user ID. And now these are the user details. It can be the employee, maybe Emily, and maybe their number. We can give them a random number like 545. So if you save that, we go to the admin, we go to the task, we go to toggle tasks, you can see the Emily here. So that is exactly what it's doing. It is just uh, it's just taking it's just creating those elements dynamically. So we don't need to add these because the employees are going to be added dynamically. So and then we can choose that person, or the available employees are going to be displayed here from the database. After that, we can assign a specific task, like maybe uh, the t-shirts or shirts. Now we have those input fields as expected, and then you can assign task. Now assigning a specific task, so we are going to take that, maybe that ID, and then go to the task manager, control find, yeah, like that. Yeah, now this is the button that we are talking about. And now after getting that button, so what are we doing? We are taking the employee ID or the employee UID in the selector. Then we select the employee. We are able to find the selected employee, and then we give them the task name or the specific task by the based on the input. So maybe the task name maybe can be t-shirts and the quantity. And then after getting all those, if there is if all these fields are filled, then we can add that task to the database. So we go to the task database and add the employee, the task, the quantity, the date assigned, and the status. So and then in case there is, then we can tell the task has been assigned if it is a success. If it's not a success, then we give specific errors. So the specific task has been assigned accordingly. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully that is going to be okay. So maybe we can add priority. I don't know. This is a priority thing. Uh-huh. Maybe priority is where is that thing? Oh yeah. control copy, you can add the priority here. Yeah, we need to put a comma over there, and maybe remove this one. Exactly. That had I really wanted to add that. So exactly, and those are the specific tasks, and then maybe you can say the assigned priority. So whenever you are assigning the task, you can see there is the low, the high, the medium, priority, high, maybe an employee like Fatuma, and you say it is t-shirt, and you say it is 3 t-shirts, you assign the task. Okay, looks like we have an error. Okay, P is not defined. It means we are defining something beyond the scope. Okay, now that was in order to capture the priority for the task that is being assigned. So we can go to the task manager here, and maybe we check the priority P. Where is it? This one. Let's say this. Control D. Oh man, there's so many. Yeah, I guess we can put it right on the top. Maybe from here to stop being paranoid. Exactly. Let's try this. Yeah, adding it again. Yeah, hopefully it will work. Then we assign assignment. We put it high, and specific assignment Fatuma, maybe t-shirts, maybe 3, and assign the task. Exactly. Now maybe after logging out, you can try to log in as Fatuma. We log in. Perfect. Let's see, check the tasks. T-shirts completed. 3. Okay, good. That's the task. Yeah, they have an unfinished t-shirts. 3, 18 t-shirts unfinished. Yeah, then maybe you can submit reports accordingly. Okay, let's log out. You go back to the admin dashboard, log in. So that is the task assignment. Yeah, so that's exactly what he's doing. So the first thing we are trying to do here is very simple. We are getting all the elements that are necessary, and then the first thing we are doing is we are fetching all the employees, and we are populating them in that selector, this selector here, like so. Another thing, uh, you are taking and that array and populating the employee name and the employee number into that selection. Then we go here, toggle between bulk and task. So as you can see, this function is going to help you to toggle between the specific task and the bulk task. So the display is none with the bulk section. The display if the bulk section is being displayed, the display is none, then you say it is block whenever you toggle. Otherwise, you make it display none. If it was not none, then you make it none. If it is none, you make it. And also the text content, you change the text of uh, the button that is used to switch. So you change the text, and also you change the name. What the condition here is try to talk about is it is in bulk, the display is none, and then you switch it. You say the display, if it is not none, that means it is not displayed, then you are supposed to take the bulk and display it as block, and then you say the specific task block is going to be none. For instance, if you put block here, both of them are going to be shown. However, if one is open, the other one should be closed. So it is just to help us to toggle between bulk. Right now we are in specific, and we can toggle back to bulk. That's what the function is simply doing. And then we can distribute tasks to the employee. That means we are taking all the tasks that has been assigned. That means every time you add, you click the add button, we are getting the item value and the item quantity for each two values that you add. And then for each, that means we are going through that array whereby the tasks have been allocated, and then we are going to get all those tasks. That means this is for bulk, and then we are distributing them to all the employees. If it is specific, we are just going to a specific employee. Now distributing the task, we are going to get the employee.length or the available employees, and then for each task you divide the quantity with the employees, and whatever is the remainder is going to be distributed equally later, like I had said. So for each remainder, we are going to randomly uh, assign the remaining task to all the available employees. Task distribution for each, add this task to each employee using employee UID. Yeah, so now every uh, task is assigned to a specific employee. So we are going to get all the employees, and then we are going to get their UID and maybe assigned every person. You assign the employee UID to a specific task. So for all those tasks that have been created dynamically, we are going to have each employee having their own uh, data accordingly. Then console log task for the employee and employee number, and then the items and all. So specific assignment to an employee. So you can assign a specific task. Alafu, that's all. Actually, I think this is easier. So we are going to just get that specific task. We are going to get the specific task name, the specific task quantity, and now the selected employee. And then if there is a task and there is a task quantity, we can proceed in correction.add. It means we are going to the database, going to the tasks collection, and then adding this object into the database. And then we can see it has been successfully uh, added, or else we can say it is not assigned. Maybe there was an error in the database or network, something of that kind. So that's it for the task manager. So for the others, I hope you have already understood. So I'll just go through them very fast. So that is the admin. So let's go. Now that was the task assignment section. So when you toggle this button, this section is the section for the task assignment is what is going to be displayed. It runs from there all the way to here, this section, like that. You can see now we have another section, reports section. Now this is the HTML for the reports section. We can have all the daily reports and they are going to be appended here. I have shown you how it is appended. It is we are taking the data from the database, converting it to an array, and then after converting it to an array, we are inserting that data inside the containers that are available. And then we can reach that data by getting it. Whatever is this ID is, we are going to add in that division, we are going to dynamically add data. So like for this is all the daily reports, all the daily reports. Now these are the reports. We can go to the reports manager like so. Like I said, you are now going to get all this. Now we are going to get all the sections. This is what we are supposed to do. After opening the task manager, here the admin. So the report section, you can go to the report section. This is the report section. We have the task assignment, reports, ranking. Now we go to the reports. Now you see all these buttons, the four of them, all daily reports, weekly reports, and monthly reports. They all have one class, which is called ToggleSharp. You can see here, control D. Yeah, all of them, they have this class called ToggleSharp. What we are doing by this function, where we go here, it was in the reports manager. This is what the function is doing. It is going to take those ToggleSharp, and if uh, inside those toggle sub there is the toggle charts, because every subdivision it has charts. So every subdivision we are going to get the data. So the data attribute inside the where is that? So we can go to the admin. We are going to get the data attribute as looks like the data attribute is being added dynamically from the JavaScript. Let me see the reports manager. So the data target, or the the based when you get the the class the class of ToggleSharp, then when you click it, what it's going to do, it's going to show or hide the data inside. So this is the data target. The data target is created dynamically whenever we are creating a report, maybe a summary charts and all. Why is that? How can it hide so well? Let's see this. Control. Let's find it. Data target. And let's see. Therefore, you can see them exactly. So the data target, it means the data target is where the charts are supposed to be toggled. It is a button that is dynamically created whenever we are creating a section of this data. For instance, this is the daily reports. This is the day, and this is the report date. For instance, let's go to the daily reports. This is the Monday, it's Monday, and the data is this one. So it is being created dynamically, and after creating, we are able to get the cells, the total made, the total sold by the end of the day, the average score, and the predictions. And then we are creating the data target, whereby the charts are being uh, so we have today's Wednesday, the date, and then we have this top.daily. Now we are able to get that, and we are able to see the the charts. Good. So this is the graph chart. This is how we draw the chart. This is a bar graph. Exactly. So whenever we append this content inside the, so we are getting uh, we are creating this div, that is CML, and then appending all this data in daily container. So the daily container, we can see control D. You see, we are importing the daily container, the day reports container in our HTML. Let me show you. Here we go, admin, and then we have the daily container. You see this is a summary container. We have the day reports container. This is where the data target is coming in. Now here it is, the daily. Now using this div, or inside this division, is where we are going to append the daily reports for each and every person, or for each and every day, for the days of the week. And that's what we are seeing here. Maybe Wednesday, there were no reports from Monday. It was just no reports. Tuesday, no reports. Wednesday, no reports. Wednesday we had this report that we made, and that's all. I don't think there's anything. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and that's it. So we go to the daily report and see. So it's like we are going to the report, we are going to get this button, which is the all target. After targeting this button, so the data contained, then this, the data that is going to be contained here, it will be contained as a result of being queried from the database. So we are going to query the data from the database, and after querying the data from the database, maybe you can do the daily reports, and maybe you can see what all the others, they are the same. There's nothing more. So if you can work on daily reports, you go to reports manager. You see this daily report. We are importing that container. If there is a daily container, if there is no containers, daily container, then you can return. But if there is, then the inner HTML is supposed to be empty. After it is empty, now we are going to get the day and the report and the index. We are going to find this. This is the entry, the daily map, or the we are going to get this. What is this? What this is doing is simply getting. It is getting the data from. Uh, it is getting the data from the database, uh, and because the daily information is a lot, we have time, we have everything, we have reasons, we have a lot of things. So we are just trying to get what was made, what was sold, and what was expected, and then putting them together. That's why you see these two dots. It means added to the array, or the available array. So we are adding all the expected in one array, all the sold in one array, all the made in one array, and then assigning all that task to the specific day, and then we can be in a position to calculate. So after calculating, we are able to get the summaries, and then we have this daily summary. Here we are putting it here. So we are going to get mm, the predictions of the profit here, and then we are going to join. So when we are talking about the join, it means we are going to map all the items that are there to the total made, the total showed, and after adding each and every one of the elements in that array, uh, you are adding them, all of them, and putting them into one number, like so. And now we have the total made, the total sold, the total expected, and then we are putting it right here. Now we are like creating a HTML section, and this is supposed to be inside uh, a daily record. Maybe if it's Tuesday, it is going to get all the reports that were made during that day. That means it will get Patuma's report, it will get Glory's report, it will get Steven's report and all. And after getting all those reports, it is going to to combine them into one report. That is the daily report. And after the end of the day, then we are going to append this data or this HTML. You can see it is HTML, but is dynamically being generated for each and every object. Instead of writing each and every object manually, we are using JavaScript to populate that div. The daily reports, like you can go here. So we were talking about daily reports. You see here, this section. Now imagine if you are to write each and every document with your hands for all the 30 documents or more, or maybe 50 or 100, and each and every document you have to write it manually. It is going to be hectic. So what do? We put them here in JavaScript, and based with the amount of data that you have, all of this container is going to be populated. And you can see here, yeah. Now we are going to target this. Now inside this div, you see like here, we are going to store all those data, and we are going to append the data for that day, the summary for that day, and the graph for those calculations for that day. So those are the reports and all. So that goes for the others as well. The weekly report and the same. It is no different for the others. You see the summary, the employee ranking. Yeah, it's the same thing. We are querying all the employees reports. Yeah, if we go to the ranking, let's go to the ranking.js. Now we are doing the same thing. We are getting uh, the scores for each and every employee, like here, and putting all of them in one array for each and every employee. So for each and every employee, and then we are able to organize those scores and store them so that we can be in a position to get each and every employee and their score. That's what we are doing here. We are displaying each and every employee and their score, and on which maybe it's a weekly summary, it's a daily summary accordingly. Now we can render that employee. So we render the score chart. Now the chart is where we are going to see each and every employee and be in a position to put whatever they have achieved into a graphical manner. And I've said this is what we use to draw a graph, and that's what we're calling the new chart. So we are using the chart. So this is a library that we import, and from it we can create a new chart. It can be a bar chart, it can be a line graph, it can be whatever. And then we are going to get all the ranks, calculate them, then we get the weekly range, the monthly range, and the formatted table, so that we are in a position to tell the dates. So for each and every uh, ranking, so we are calculating the daily ranking, we are calculating the weekly counting, and that's it. And after getting the weekly reach and monthly reach, and we are in a that position to calculate the ranking for the month, the ranking for the week, based on what we have had so far in the daily ranking. So that's the ranking and how the JS is supposed to be looking like. But it's a repetition of the same thing. And then we go to the admin, that is the tasks. The monitor JS, it's based on timer. So we are like just linking it to the timer page. Now this is the timer. What the timer is doing is we are just getting active employees, inactive employees, and maybe a person who has infiltrated the database. In case we see a person who has maliciously gotten into the database, we can talk of imposter detection. And then we have the timer, we have the users. Now this is the user dashboard. It is no different from the admin dashboard. Actually, it's a little bit simpler. So all we need, we have the submit button. These are the buttons you can see whenever we are talking about a user. Mhm. So we can try to see them. Maybe if you log out as an admin, you log in as a user, maybe as a photo. So, what is happening here? You can see submit a report. You can check the tasks available, the available reports. You can log out and all. You can log in. Perfect. Yeah. So the reports, the tasks that were supposed to be there, they're supposed to be uh, disregarded. Available reports. Now that is the reports. I'm sure we have seen this. It is no difference. So we have the submit report. So the same case, we come here. There are sections. When you click submit report, the report button, it will show this report section, and it will show this form, report form, where you can get the date, the timing, the timeout, which is auto-populated, the date, the timeout is auto-populated, and then the task item container. This task item container is what is going to be populated with the new tasks. In case we have added a new task, this div is going to be targeted for that. We have the task ID, you can display assigned tasks, pending tasks, completed tasks, and all the other tasks, as you can see. And this is where we are seeing the task. I don't know, the ID task dashboard. So this is the dashboard for the assigned task. So you can see the pending task and the completed tasks. And then you go ahead and see the templates are going to be there. Yeah, from the card and all. And then we have the available reports. So we are going to query reports. Like for instance, if we log in with a person who have let alone photo have created today, let's assume it's an employee who have been there for quite a while. Maybe let's log in. Yeah, check tasks. There are no tasks available. Oh no, this is the admin. So let's see. Okay, let's try this. I think it is in this. Yeah, I think it's here. Maybe cherry. Exactly. You can check. These are the reports and all that have been assigned. Good. The available reports. Now you can see Cherry has been working from January and they have quite a number of reports, and you can see the work all the way. And whenever they have this one is whatever, yeah, but you can see it's all there, the available reports. And then maybe you can sort them by day. Maybe you want a report on Monday, yeah, and then you have it. Or maybe a report on date 5, yeah, no report, okay. Oh yes, no report date this may be 3, yeah, March, good. So that's it. You can see the different divisions, and it's been run by user.js. It's the same thing being repeated different times. There's nothing special or unique. You're just appending the data from the database. You are querying the database, getting the reports, and then appending them. You are appending them to the body. Like here, we are getting that element, div, the card element, and then from inside that card, we are appending this HTML dynamically using JavaScript, and then we are also appending the graphs accordingly, like this. These are the reasons. Maybe when the user is inputting the reports. Now that's the section where we are inputting the reports. Now this is the the report, how the report is supposed to be looking like, the date, the time in, the timeout, the status, is it made, is it complete or is it not complete, the name, the user data, the, the employee ID, the items, the unfinished and finished. And from there is where we are calculating the scores, and you can see the calculate the scores here. Item made, item expected. Mhm. I think it's that simple. So I think that is what the application is supposed to do in general. These are the CSS. Maybe this is the user CSS. Mhm. So we can target these. Yes, that is rank.css headings. I don't know. Mhm. Mhm. I don't know. Maybe we can change this. Do you want heading to? Mhm. You can see the available reports. Link, assign task, heading task, completed tasks, and all. Mhm. That's I think that is everything you needed to know. Yeah.